We have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Tamir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coon. The white man to go nuts if he cash you. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, given to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations, I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
I'm getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
Touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't here for my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat.
This is the sound of Ambercrombie.
It's a cut on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans, and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why they hate hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X to my jeans and I got...
This is the sound of Emmett.
All right, hello, Grand Rising, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right, so let's get ready to get into it. And if you don't like what the Queen is cooking, you already know what to do. Exit stage left. No need to make an announcement on your way out. All right, and if you're here to complain, this isn't the place for you. Pay attention. Okay? Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur, TikTok at Dr. A Shakur, and Twitter at DGoddess27. Hello, Naja, Honey69, Courtney, Danielle, Nessie X, December, Aboriginal Woman, Terry Hinton, Reggie. Rich said exit stage left. That's right. Silent D, RG Titan, Desmond, Ethelene, Sandra's in the house. Silent D. Shout out to my moderators putting in work. Melanated equals black vitriol. Okay. Wavy though. Pennywise, Jeff ATL. Did I say you? Anita, Brand Slayer TV, Maurice said, wow, Queen, this is going to be more juicy than M2 made 1983. Hey, DJ Big Six. Okay, so let's get into it, Miss Evie. That's right. Reggie said this is not the HR department. Please pay attention. All right. We don't take complaints. Hey, lawyer in the house. All right, so let's get into it. About damn time is here as well. Okay, so listen. Now, you all that tuned in yesterday for the broadcast, then you remember that I was talking about Balenciaga and how Kim Kardashian has, become their ambassador, despite all the nefarious things that they did in that ad, okay? And so I also talked about Ambercrombie and Fitch, all of the accusations against them, specifically the former CEO, Michael Jeffries, and his partner, Matthew Smith. So I told you that I would conclude it today. This is part 2, so let's get into it. Everyone, please get those likes up. Please like and share. You all know how they do the Queen, honey. Please pay attention. And also, don't forget to double check and make sure that you're still subscribed to the channel if you have not been receiving those notifications. All right. So let's get into it. Where do I want to start? First of all, let me make this announcement before I get started, honey. Okay. Rhoda Osman, a.k.a. the Brick Lady, well, she turned herself in and posted a $10,000 bond in Harris County. Okay. And so here's what they say. Look at her. She needs to sit down somewhere. I'm so through. According to court records, Osman says on September the 3rd, 2023, she was walking with an unknown man. We don't need to go revamp all of that. We already know the lies that she told. Okay. Now, the arrest warrant was issued for Osman based on the evidence gathered on January the 18th. Authorities report she was planning to turn herself in the same day, but failed to appear. According to records, Osman is scheduled to appear back in court on March the 5th. Okay, well, I want to know what's going to happen to her. So she turned herself in, appeared in Harris County Court on Tuesday for theft, and posted her $10,000 bond, honey. That's as good as it gets. That's all they said. That's all they said. At the end of the day, well, hopefully she'll get her just desserts, because I really don't like people going around here lying. Her and Carly Russell need to get what's coming to her. Carly didn't really get much as far as I was concerned. And let me say this real quick. So some black women were saying, oh, well, you all want them to go to jail, but what about the Karens? Well, at the end of the day, the Karens definitely need to go to jail. But you see, people like Carly Russell and the Brick Lady, Rhoda Osman, first of all, what they're doing is endangering other black women. Okay, that's what they're doing. While people were putting that effort into looking for Carly Russell, who wasn't even kidnapped, abducted, or any of that in the first place, clearly hiding out just to make her boyfriend, who didn't want her anymore, upset. While all of that was going on, you may remember that I reported to you that there was a beautiful young black woman, about 18 or 19, who was pregnant, okay, and came up missing. And the family did not know where she was. And all of those efforts that were allocated to Carly Russell could have further helped this young woman. Okay, that's all I'm saying. And then here's the thing: we already know that when women who look like me come up missing, there's very little media coverage, if any at all. And so for Carly to do something like that, don't you think that's going to make it even worse for us? So I don't have time for it. And then with these people like Rhoda Osman crying wolf, well, we already know some black men don't want to intervene when they see a woman being, abused or whatever. So her doing ignorant stuff like that, yeah, that's going to exasperate the issue. All right, so that's why I went in on them, and I'll continue to do so. All right, if you're mad, say you're mad. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about this. Abercrombie and Fitch was sued over sex trafficking allegations. Now, we touched on this yesterday. Like I said, I gave you a very detailed explanation of the things that were going on. But here's what they also say. And also, I'm going to play a couple of excerpts from two of the victims, okay? Dozens of men have filed a class action lawsuit alleging Ambercrombie and Fitch was complicit in a decade-long sex trafficking scheme carried out by the fashion company's former CEO. That's Michael Jeffries. Now, according to the complaint filed Friday in federal court in New York, Michael Jeffries, who ran the company between 1992 and 2014, used his role as CEO of Abercrombie to prey upon attractive young men who believed that Jeffries was going to hire them as an Abercrombie model. And now remember this. I told you all yesterday how there was one young man, it was also said, including the various, how one young man said that he woke up, someone apparently slipped something in his drink, and then he passed out in a back bedroom or a back room, and then he woke up and there was a contraceptive, okay? There was a condom in his body, and you know where it was. So he said he will never, he will never probably know exactly what happened. Now, just think about that. That is absolutely awful. We hear about women having these things happen to them, but when you hear this happening to a man, that's just also nefarious too. And another thing is this. One of the young men, as I reported on my TikTok yesterday, one of the young men said that he was traumatized from it still. It left him mentally messed up. And that, basically, he says that it seems as though they stole the last little piece of innocence that he had. Because remember, these were young men. Some of them were like 18 and 19. Okay? So this is all terrible. Now, according to the complaint filed in federal court in New York, Michael Jeffries, who ran the company between 1992 to 2014, used his role as CEO of Ambercrombie to prey upon young, attractive men who believed that he could give them a job as an Abercrombie model. The complaint alleges Jeffries ran an expensive sex trafficking operation, coercing and forcing young men to engage in sexual acts in exchange for money and promises of employment. Now, the lawsuit states that in a series of instances, one aspiring model was invited to multiple Abercrombie and Fitch casting events in New York, France, and London, and was sexually assaulted at least 7 times at these events. The model was allegedly led to believe that this process was essential to become an Abercrombie model. This is called the casting couch. You see, it doesn't only apply to when you're trying to get in a movie. Okay? Now, the total number of victims is believed to exceed 100. This is what the lawsuit states. And we anticipate more men coming forward in light of the filing. Now, I just want you all to pay attention. Because didn't I tell you all, in fact, that men would start coming forward? Didn't I tell you all, when all that stuff was going on with Diddy, I told you all men would start coming out and saying that they were assaulted as well. And so just pay attention. That's all I'm saying. Now, with that all being said, they say sexual exploitation does not discriminate based on gender. This is what Henderson told CNN in a statement. Men have been exploited in the modeling and fashion industries for decades. The hashtag #MeToo movement ignited a fire in our country that empowered survivors to come forward and be heard. This case is paramount to expanding the hashtag #MeToo movement across genders into the hashtag #WeToo. Okay, the WeToo movement, honey, pay attention. Now, and eradicating sexual exploitation in the entire industry, starting with Abercrombie and Fitch. Now, the plaintiffs are seeking a trial by jury, as well as punitive and compensatory damages. Mr. Jeffries will not comment in the press on this new lawsuit, as he has likewise chosen not to regarding litigation in the past. Now, they say the courtroom is where we will deal with this matter. That's what his attorney, Brian Bieber, said. Wonder if he's related to Justin. Pay attention. Now, the complaint also names Jeffries' longtime partner, Matthew Smith, as a defendant, claiming that he sexually assaulted men alongside Jeffries. While Smith did not hold any official position at the company, he was still given access to non-public information, such as sales reports and financial documents, according to the complaint, and allowed to hold managerial authority, even though he didn't work there. Now, Bieber said that Smith does not yet have legal representation. CNN has not been able to determine whether he has retained an attorney. Now, the 21-count lawsuit brings 9 counts against Abercrombie and Fitch, alleging that the company was aware of Jeffries and Smith's abuse and knowingly turned a blind eye to the unfettered amounts of money that Jeffries withdrew from corporate affiliated accounts in order to pay off victims. Yeah, I believe they absolutely knew. Of course they did. Now, to put it plainly, Jeffries needed a corporation that knew he was engaging in illegal activity and did not care. I'm sorry, he knew that he was engaging in an illegal activity with a corporation that knew about it and didn't care. Okay, they say that this was negligence, and that makes Ambercrombie and Fitch liable for the physical injury and emotional distress experienced by the plaintiffs as a result of the alleged assault committed by Jeffries and Smith. Abercrombie financially benefited in that a byproduct of the sex trafficking venture, i.e. the company, was able to employ male models to further promote their brand image, while simultaneously keeping Jeffries happy and productive, allowing him to rebrand the company's image and transform it into a billion-dollar industry. This is what the lawsuit says. So the company was benefiting, so maybe that's why they turned a blind eye. Well, of course it is. Now, the lawsuit comes less than a month after the BBC published allegations of 8 men who said Jeffries and his partner Smith exploited them for sex. The men alleged they were recruited through a middleman who used a network of recruiters and paid them $500 to $1,000 for every referral, according to the report, which was found out in the culmination of a 2-year investigation. Now, days after the report, Ambercrombie and Fitch said it had launched its own investigation into the allegations. Well, they didn't have to look far because, like they said, they already knew. I absolutely believe they did. That's my opinion. Now, the company's current executive leadership team and board of directors were not aware of the allegations of sexual misconduct by Mr. Jeffries, according to the retailer. Okay, now for close to a decade, a new executive leadership team and refreshed board of directors have successfully transformed our brands and culture into the values-driven organization we are today. We have zero tolerance for abuse, harassment, and or discrimination of any kind. Please miss me with it. That's what they can do. I'm just not buying what they're selling. I'm not buying what they're selling. I think they knew. How did this go on for over a decade, and they didn't know anything? How did this go on for all this time and nobody knew anything? They weren't missing the money? Because here's the thing. Even if you didn't know exactly what he was up to, you had to know he was up to something when the money came up missing, because he was using that money to pay people off. That's what he was doing. Hey, that crazy beach Aries. Okay, Reggie said plausible deniability. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, it goes on to say, let me pull this up real quick. Now they say, Abercrombie and Fitch former boss Mike Jeffries will never address BBC Panorama claims, as lawyer insists he has always chosen not to comment on his personal life and won't start now. Well, of course you won't comment on your personal life when it's full of illegal activities. Okay, that's no shock there. So they said that he hosted parties and stuff around the world. That's another thing. They were having sex parties, okay, doing the same stuff Diddy was doing. Please pay attention. And as I told you yesterday, they were
sometimes having these young men engage in these acts of which they didn't want to, but having them engage in it, and then they'd sit there and watch. One or the other would sit there and watch. Okay, or they make two of the new recruits do things together, and they sit there and watch. It's also disgusting, freaks. But so anyway, the investigative documentary said that it had spoken to 8 men, some of whom alleged they were exploited at events in places including U.S., London, Paris, Venice, Marrakesh, and the Caribbean. Now let's go to the audio. Let's go to the audio of the 2 victims. It's just a brief clip, it's like a minute long. They say half of the men claimed they were misled about the nature of the events or not told sex was expected, while others said they knew it would involve sex, but not exactly what was expected of them. Modeling opportunities with Abercrombie and Fitch were said to have been raised before they met Mr. Jeffries and Mr. Smith. David Bradbury, then he was 23 years old, and that's one of the people you'll hear from shortly. David Bradbury, he told the media that he was introduced to Mr. Jacobson by an agent who described him as the gatekeeper. Okay, the gatekeeper to the owners. That's what he was. Yeah, he was in fact the gatekeeper because allegedly he was the recruiter. And that is the gatekeeper. Okay, the ones who keep an eye out on things, the ones who supply them, bring them the bodies. That's what they do. Now, he told reporter Rihanna Croxford, Mr. Jacobson suggested Bruce Weber, who at the time was an Abercrombie and Fitch official photographer. But Mr. Bradbury claims Jim made it clear to me that unless I let him do certain things, that I would not be meeting Mr. Fitch and Mr. Jeffries. Okay, so with that all being said, let's go to the audio. Like, sub, everyone, please like and share. Actually, before I go to that, let's talk about this whole Epstein, this whole Epstein thing, because I found this all very interesting. And in fact, they call Michael Jeffries Epstein 2.0. That's what they call him. Said he's been exploiting these men for years, allegedly. Allegedly. Okay, please pay attention. I have to sign in for this article. So give me just a moment. Bear with me as I'm signing in. They're asking me they're sending me a code. Okay, there we go. Now here's what they say. Abercrombie and Fitch's former CEO Mike Jeffries and his partner Matthew Smith have been accused of exploiting young men. They say, as well as pressuring them to commit acts they weren't comfortable with. Through a 2-year investigation, the BBC uncovered a well-oiled machine organizing sex events that could potentially be considered sex trafficking. Well, that's what it's considered. The iconic brand from our youth set itself apart in retail through a savvy marketing strategy that never failed. Attractive people selling sex appeal. More specifically, conventionally attractive males lure you into their stores with their shirtless bodies and raunchy advertisements. Now, the man behind the clever lean into this gratuitous sex appeal is Mike Jeffries. Walking into these stores was like entering a nightclub, or more accurately, a day club. Stepping foot into Abercrombie and Fitch it inundated you with blaring techno music and a stench of cologne so strong it could choke out a small cat, all while the parents hung over the shoulders of the teens because they couldn't drive yet. So here's the thing. Some of these people were possibly underage at the time some of these things happened. Now, Abercrombie & Fitch, under its previous leadership, helmed by Mike Jeffries, was plagued by numerous controversies for years, with a string of lawsuits claiming discrimination and a toxic work culture. A&F was open about their embracement of sexuality or the sexually alluring people who fit the image of traditional Americans. Now, it also was open about its discrimination against people who didn't fit the image. Okay, Jeffries' controversial statements about the selection process for hiring the certain candidates constantly stirred up backlash, from fat shaming and allegedly relegating minorities to the back stock rooms to selling graphic tees with offensive slogans. A&F was not marketing itself as an inclusive beacon of representation. Then again, neither were any other stores at the time, but A&F certainly wasn't going to sugarcoat theirs. And they had some racist t-shirts too. T-shirts with racist things written on them that they sold. A&F was very particular about the image they wanted to cultivate. One of Jeffries' most famous quotes comes from a 2006 interview with Salon, in which he makes it clear that not everyone is welcome in the A&F brand. He says, in every school there are the cool kids, the popular kids, and then there are the not so cool kids. Candidly, we go after the cool kids. I told you all this already. Okay, so let's go to the audio. Let's go to the audio. And for those of you who are not familiar with Abercrombie and Fitch, because you may never have shopped there, I hope you haven't, because I never did. But if you don't even know, however, aren't most Americans fat, Sister Dan? Dad, no. No, Dad. I don't think most Americans are fat. Maybe a lot of them, but definitely not most. Okay? But anyway, for those of you who aren't familiar with the brand, let me just show you one of their advertisement photos. That's them right there, as you can see. All right. You heard they were racist. Melanated equals black vitriol. They are racist. They were racist. Absolutely. I mean, they have myriad of complaints about discrimination. Okay, so let me put this up on the screen. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Here we go. These are the two young men who came forward. One of them is named David Bradbury. Okay. And the other one, I think his name is Barrett Paul. Barrett Paul and David Bradbury. Now, the first one you'll hear speak, I do believe, is Barrett Paul.
I was presented with meeting the CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch for a sex party, a sexual experience. There was never any real clarity about what was expected of me to happen. It was just like, you can go there and do what you feel comfortable with and let it be known in a roundabout way that, like, the farther you go, the better. I know that my friend who was making money because he told me. It was, you get this and I get this. It's a win-win for both of us.
But while starting out in the entertainment industry, I did fall victim to a handful of situations that were inappropriate. It was kind of reinforced kind of over and over again that this is normal. And so the idea of this isn't the way things are done wasn't really occurring. Jim made it clear to me that unless I let him perform oral sex on me, that I would not be meeting with Abercrombie & Fitch or Mike Jeffries.
All right. You all heard that. It's absolutely deplorable as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely deplorable. Now, here's the thing. They also had what they call a no pants rule. A former pilot for Abercrombie & Fitch, who was fired and replaced by a younger face, sued the company for discrimination on the basis of age. Now, the company was no stranger to discrimination lawsuits, but the details in this one suggest a sinister atmosphere. The man accused the company of having specific creepy rules to be allowed to fly on the company's plane, including requiring the models on board to adhere to a no pants rule. The rule allegedly required models to wear only boxer briefs, polo shorts, gloves, and flip-flops. Another strange detail was that the pilot was ordered to play Phil Collins on all flights headed back home. What's with the Phil Collins? I can feel it coming in the air tonight. I'm sure that's the song. I'm sure that's it. I'm almost willing to bet money. All so crazy. Now, in October of 2022, a 2-year BBC Panorama investigation revealed allegations that Jeffries, his partner, and a third party, who is alleged to have been a middleman, lured male models into sex parties where they were exploited and taken advantage of in exchange for career opportunities. 8 men accused the ex-CEO and his partner of hosting sex parties in cities in the U.S. and around the world, where male models were recruited for jobs in exchange for sexual favors. And this went on from 2009 to 2014, as long as until Jeffries left the company. Now, many of them expressed feeling exploited or abused at these parties. Models claimed they were recruited by the middleman, James Jacobson, who, by the way, claims that he did nothing wrong. That's what he says. He says he did nothing wrong. I'm sure Ghislaine Maxwell probably thought the same. Now, half of the men accused Jeffries or Jacobson of luring them to these sex parties under false pretenses, being misled about the nature of the parties. Some of them claimed they were lured there under the guise of modeling opportunities and that sex was never even mentioned. Other men claimed while they knew the parties were sexual, they were misled about what was expected of them. Okay, so that all been said. This is all crazy. Now, let's talk about how this man, Michael Jeffries, let me fix my chat real quick so I can see the comments. Reggie said pants on the ground. Pants on the ground. So with this, this does not, let's see, this doesn't surprise me at all, because you shouldn't have to model half naked, says exact. This is true. This is true, beloved. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Okay, like stuff, everyone please like and share. Now let's talk about a man by the name of Les Wexner. You see, Les Wexner was good friends with Jeffrey Epstein. And in fact, this came out just a couple of days ago. What we learned about Les Wexner and Jeffrey Epstein in documents released. Now, the reason this is interesting is because this man here is the one who appointed Jeffries to Abercrombie and Fitch. Okay? This man by the name of Les Wexner. Now, hold on. I'm getting my receipts confused. Hold on just a second. Okay, so here's what they say. Now they say, among the many appalling allegations and reports of shady business dealings coming out about Jeffrey Epstein, the money manager arrested July the 6th. Now this is a previous article from 2019, and then I'm going to go to the current one that just came out days ago. And this one says, what we know and what we don't know about retail mogul Les Wexner's connection to Jeffrey Epstein. For at least a decade, the man behind Victoria's Secret and the Limited was the disgraced financier and accused sex traffickers' only known clients. And so they go on to say, among the many appalling allegations and reports of shady business dealings coming out about Jeffrey Epstein, the money manager arrested on July the 6th on federal sex trafficking charges, one name keeps cropping up, and that's Leslie H. Wexner. They call him Les for short. Now, Wexner is the founder, chair, and CEO of L Brands, the Ohio-based conglomerate that owns Victoria's Secret, Pink, and Bath & Body Works. I want you all to pay attention for any of you who shop at these places. This man right here was friends with Epstein. He owned L Brands, Victoria's Secret, Pink, and Bath & Body Works. He's worth $4.8 billion, according to Forbes. And for at least a decade, he was Epstein's only publicly known client. Clients, okay? Wexner himself hasn't been accused of any wrongdoing, and according to a spokesperson, he severed ties with the financier over a decade ago. Isn't that what they all said? But they said he was a client, so make it all make sense. Now, a new report from the New York Times revealed that in May of 1997, Jeffrey Epstein posed as a talent scout for Victoria's Secret, the multi-million-dollar lingerie giant owned by Les Wexner's L Brands, in order to lure a model named Alicia Arden to his hotel room. There, according to a police report filed with the Santa Monica Police Department and obtained by the Times, he told her to undress, and then he groped her and said he wanted to manhandle her. It wasn't until Epstein was in the news more than a decade later, pleading guilty to federal charges in Florida for soliciting prostitution from a minor, that she realized he had never worked for the company that she was at. Okay, just lie. Came in there pretending he works. I mean, you gotta have some type of nerve to pull off something like that. Now, two former L Brands executives also told the paper that they had learned in the mid-1990s that Epstein was trying to get involved in recruiting models for the Victoria's Secret catalog and then sidestepping professional agencies. He alerted Wexner, who promised to handle the issue. L Brands' board of directors has engaged outside counsel to conduct a thorough review of Epstein's connections with Wexner and the company. Now, that was according to a spokesperson. They said they say the Wexner link, though it's well documented according to SEC filings from the early 1990s through the mid-2000s. They list Epstein as one of 3 trustees. And I want you all to pay attention. This man was really in with Epstein. They say that Epstein was listed as one of 3 trustees of the Wexner Foundation, and as well as several of Wexner's only prosaically named charitable organizations, including Art Interest, Health and Science Interest, Health and Science Interest 2, and the Wexner's Children's Trust 2, and International Charitable Interest. Now, the relationship appears to have been mostly concerned with Wexner's personal business matters rather than his retail empire, but executives at the Limited were aware of Epstein's influence. They say everyone was mystified as to what his appeal was. This is what Robert Murawski, one of the company's former vice chairs, told Vanity Fair in 2003. Okay, he literally came out of nowhere. This is what an executive said. Like, Epstein came out of nowhere. Now, Epstein also obtained his Manhattan residence, a 7-story, 21,000 square foot mansion that's been called one of the city's largest private homes. He got that through Wexner, who purchased the property in 1989 for $13.2 million, furnished it lavishly, and yet never spent more than 2 months there, according to a 1996 review. Epstein gave this to the New York Times. Now, at the time, Epstein told the paper that the home was his. Okay, so this is what he told the New York Times, that the home was his through property, though property records show that the deed wasn't officially transferred until December of 2011. Records also indicate that no money was exchanged in the transaction, which transferred ownership of the property to Maple Inc., a Virgin Islands-based trust that was controlled by Epstein. There were rumors that Epstein purchased the mansion from Wexner for just $1. Though a person with knowledge of Wexner's finances told the New York Times that Epstein paid $20 million. Now prosecutors want to seize the Upper East Side mansion. According to an indictment unsealed shortly after the arrest, the home was one of several sites where Epstein sexually exploited and abused dozens of minor girls, and a raid by investigators uncovered hundreds and hundreds of sexually suggestive photographs, including some that appeared to be underage girls. So this man, who appointed Michael Jeffries of Ambercrombie and Fitch, was not only friends with Epstein, but he was one of the trustees. Like, make that make sense. They had to be really close. And quite frankly, this man was probably in on the whole thing the entire time. Okay? Timberland says totally disturbing and disgusting. All right. Melanated says heard they were lovers. Well, they sound like it. Because why would you sell him this property for $1? I mean, they could have been doing something shady, because you know when people do stuff like that, something going on with the money that's clearly funny. Please pay attention. Now, the thousands of pages of court documents released over the past week from a New York. Now, this is the current information. This is the current information. The thousands of pages of court documents released over the past week from a New York lawsuit revealed no fresh allegations about the relationship between New York Albany billionaire and retail magnate Les Wexner and his ties to accused sexual abuser Jeffrey Epstein. But they do serve as a reminder of just how tight Epstein, Wexner's one-time financial manager, and Wexner, the driving force behind well-known brands such as Victoria's Secret, Ambercrombie and Fitch, and Bath and Body Works were at one time. Now, Wexner's name came up more than 45 times in 2015 in a civil suit filed by Virginia Giuffre, who accused Epstein and partner Ghislaine Maxwell of directing her sexual involvement with prominent men. Now, the case was settled in 2017, and then last month, U.S. District Judge Loretta Prescott of the Southern District of New York ordered the list of names and related documents be released because there was no longer a need for them to remain hidden. So, let me tell you all something. What this says to me is all of these people clearly were involved in this stuff. I just want you all to pay attention. I want you all to pay attention. Hold on while I pull up this other receipt. Likes up, everyone. Like and share, please. Thank you in advance. Okay, here it is right here. Now, so here's what they say. For those growing up in the early 90s, Abercrombie & Fitch was the store we found ourselves frittering our hard-saved pocket money on. Okay, let's pass all that. Mike Jeffries was the CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch, having been hired by business magnate Les Wexner to reinvigorate the fledgling brand in 1992. He was one of the driving forces behind making Abercrombie & Fitch a highly coveted brand. His work at the company saw him lauded as one of America's highest paid CEOs. For all his success, Jeffries was considered a controversial figure. So, as I said, this man, Wexner, and let me pull up Wexner's picture. This man, Les Wexner, is the man who hired Michael Jeffries and was friends with him. With that all being said, I'm quite sure he knew what was going on with Jeffries and was likely involved in the things going on with Epstein. Because here's the thing. This man had his name as one of the trustees. So make it all make sense. Now, this dude, Wexner, is old, very old. Here he is right here. And do you all know, hold on. Do you all know what origin is the last name Wexner? Does anyone know what origin that name is? Nessa G said he probably was involved. Oh, I'm pretty sure he was. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you all know what origin is his last name Wexner? Anyone care to venture a guess? Anyone care to venture a guess? That's him right there with Epstein. So pay attention, because here's the thing. Here it is right here. Y'all see that? That's who he is. That's who he is. Please pay attention. Please pay attention. So at the end of the day, of course he would come out and say that he had dealt with this man in a decade, but your name was on his stuff as the trustee. Now, they go on to say, from those immersed in the Jewish world, there's an added question. How did Wexner, a prominent philanthropist, seen as a champion of Jewish learning and ethical teaching, whose foundation has trained waves of rabbis, Jewish professionals, and volunteer board leaders, end up so enmeshed and enamored with a future convicted sex offender and alleged sex trafficker? Well, I think I can figure that out pretty easy. But let me continue. Now, is Wexner connected to the sex abuse accusations against Epstein? Has the philanthropist been accused of any wrongdoing? These are the questions they're asking. Does any of this taint Wexner's legacy or the beneficiaries of his many programs? Since the Epstein sex scandal resurfaced, these questions have dogged Wexner, the owner of Victoria's Secret, who at one point was Epstein's only known financial client. Wexner was very close with Epstein and trusted him as a money manager and legal representative. Now, you know he had to trust this man to be down with him and good friends with him if he was letting him manage his money. Please pay attention. Epstein, who served a year in prison and registered as a sex offender more than a decade ago, was arrested recently and charged with sex trafficking. He was found hanged in his cell. We already know that part because this is an article from 2019. Now, as the scandal had unfolded, Wexner and his associates put out a series of statements on Epstein and their relationship. His connection with Epstein has also led to stormy discussions about the recipients of his what is this word? Hold on. I think this is a typo. Anyway, the recipients of his largest something about the ethical dilemmas they face. Now, here's a primer on how the two became so close and why their relationship poses a dilemma for many in the Jewish community. He's an 81-year-old Jewish billionaire who lives in the Columbus, Ohio area. Wexner made his fortune by founding the Limited, a woman's clothing brand, in 1963. Wexner has since expanded his apparel empire to include other brands like Bath & Body Works and most notably Victoria's Secret, a once obscure lingerie store that he turned into an empire. It's all now under the umbrella of his company, L Brands. Now he is the longest running CEO of a Fortune 500 company. He also ventured into real estate, developing the posh community of New Albany, Ohio, where Wexner lives in a 60,000 square foot mansion, according to Forbes. And he's worth $4.5 billion. Actually, $4.6 billion to be exact. Okay, so anyway, they say how much has he given to Jewish causes? Plenty. The Wexner Foundation is among the most prominent private Jewish charities in the world. In 2017, according to tax documents, it gave $3.6 million in charity. Much, but not all of it, went to Jewish educational causes, as well as more money for educational programs. Now, the foundation is best known in the Jewish world for its graduate fellowship, which awards scholarships to 20 promising graduate students in Jewish fields, okay, including rabbinical school, cantorial school, Jewish educational school, or another degree program. Now, more than 1,800 people have participated in its program aimed at providing volunteer board leadership with lessons in Jewish history, thought text, and contemporary issues. The foundation runs a variety of other programs, including training for the Israeli public officials. So I just want you all to pay attention. I want you all to pay attention. There's a whole lot to this. I'm not going to get into all of it. But they say Epstein also supervised the construction of Wexner's yachts, Limitless, that's the name of it, Limitless, and was a frequent guest at Wexner's Ohio parties. So I bet I can imagine what kind of parties they were having. Please pay attention. Okay, according to the New York Times. Now, the Times also reported that Epstein froze out some of Wexner's friends and acquaintances from his life. This definitely sounds like they were in a relationship. How has this man made him get rid of some of his friends and former acquaintances? Now, when Epstein was first investigated in the mid-2000s for unlawful sex acts with a minor, he denied the allegations. Eventually, however, he accepted a deal under which he pleaded guilty for 2 counts of solicitation of prostitution, 1 with a minor. Wexner says he broke off the relationship with Epstein in 2007 and later found out that Epstein had taken a lot of money from him. He said this was frankly a tremendous shock, even though it clearly pales in comparison to the unthinkable allegations against him now. I love it. When they try to act like they didn't know anything about it. Oh, yeah, I'm a victim too. He stole money from me. Please, sir, please. I'm not buying it. Or you all buying it because I'm not. I'm not. Okay, Reggie said sound like they were together like boyfriends. Yes, it does. You have this man named as a trustee. He's not your family. And then he's helping you with your yacht and all of this. Y'all are throwing parties together. He's making you freeze out some of your own friends and acquaintances. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now he wants to sit here and act all, oh, I didn't know he was doing these things. I cut him off when I found out. And then, by the way, I found out he stole money from me. Please sit down, sir. Okay, please sit down. So anyway, goes on to say, that was frankly a tremendous shock, even though it clearly pales in comparison to the unthinkable allegations against him now. Okay, this is what Wexner wrote in a recent message regarding the financial misappropriation. He said, I am embarrassed that, like so many others, I was deceived by Mr. Epstein. I know now that my trust in him was grossly misplaced, and I deeply regret having ever crossed his path. Isn't that what that other guy said? What was that man's name? What was that man's name? Let me look that man's name up. He said the exact same thing. He said the exact same thing. He was Epstein's attorney. What was that man's name? I'm about to look it up right now. Y'all know who I'm talking about because I played his audio. He said the same thing. Said he wished, he regretted ever meeting him. Well, I bet you do now that he's called out and you are being looked at real shady. Alan Dershowitz. That's him. Alan Dershowitz. You all remember? And guess what? You know where his last name comes from too, right? I just want y'all to pay attention. So I'm sorry, but what now? And yes, it makes sense because Epstein is one of those people too. And so is Weinstein. Please pay attention. So with that all being said, let me continue. Now, it goes on to say, in 2008, Epstein made a $46 million donation to one of Wexner's charities. $46 million. I'm sorry, say what? And you cut him off? Now, please pay attention because he said that he cut this man off in 2007. Hold on, I don't want to tell a lie. Didn't I say he cut him off in 2007? Here it is. Now, listen, let me read this again. When Epstein was first investigated in the mid-2000s, for unlawful sex acts with a minor, he denied the allegations. Eventually, however, he accepted a deal under which he pled guilty for 2 counts of solicitation of prostitution, 1 with a minor. Wexner says he broke off his relationship with Epstein in 2007. And I want you to pay attention to the way he said that. He broke off his relationship? Doesn't that sound like they were boyfriends? Doesn't that sound like they were boyfriends in a whole relationship? Because if I break up with, stop being friends with my friend, I'm not going to say I broke off the relationship. That's what I'd say about my man. I'm sorry. Please make it all make sense. But the reason I pointed that out is because he said he broke it off in 2007. But then they say in 2008, pay attention, Epstein made a $46 million donation to one of Wexner's charities. Wexner wrote in his letter that payments Mr. Epstein made to the charitable fund represented a portion of the returned monies that Epstein had misappropriated. Oh, this is all cute. This is all cute. So he's acting like he quit fooling with the man, and then a year later, or maybe even months later, we don't know what time of 2007 he's talking about. But we do know from the receipts clearly that in 2008, he gave him $46 million for a charity, and now he wants us to think, oh no, That money he gave, that was part of the money he stole. Ah! Oh, they're good. I want y'all to pay attention. That they are slick. But anyway, the real Nancy Drew's going to find out. Pay attention. That's why I come with these receipts. Now, according to CNBC, Wexner has provided documents showing the financial misconduct to federal investigators. Yeah, I bet he did. I bet he did. So has anyone implicated Wexner in Epstein's crimes? And what does this have to do with Alan Dershowitz? Oh my goodness, there it is. There's the name right there. If only I'd read a little bit further, I would have had to look him up. Please pay attention. Wexner's name has been dragged into an ongoing legal battle between Alan Dershowitz and one of Epstein's accusers, Virginia Roberts Giuffre, and her attorneys. Well, why would his name be involved? He cut ties with this man in 2007, didn't he? And then when he got that big old check for $46 million in 2008, well, that was just money that was stolen by him, by Epstein, right? So why would Virginia Roberts Giuffre, to be exact, why would he be dragged into her legal battles? I'm sorry, with Alan Dershowitz. Please make it all make sense. Now, you all remember that when the fake list came out, they called it a list. I call it court filings because that's exactly what it was. But you all remember when I went over some of the court filings, well, of course we saw Alan Dershowitz's name in there. And then I played that video of him talking to Sean Hannity when he sat there looking all sad and forlorn and just pleading his case. And I don't know why. I just wish I never ever met him and all that stuff. Y'all remember the foolishness? Y'all remember the bullshit? This is all crazy. Courtney J says Bugs Bunny couldn't even dig this damn deep. Woo! Thanks, beloved. That Crazy Beach area said the connection of it all. You already know, okay? I'm the one with the receipts. Pay attention. Now, goes on to say Dershowitz has had his own personal and professional relationship with Epstein. They were close. Dershowitz has said that he loved talking with Epstein and would show him drafts of his books. And the high-profile lawyer has helped represent Epstein. Now, Epstein once brought Dershowitz to one of Wexner's parties. See, they were all in cahoots. I want y'all to pay attention. As Dershowitz says, an intellectual gift to Wexner. An intellectual gift, he said. That's what he called it. Now, two of Epstein's alleged victims, including Giuffre, have accused Dershowitz of sexual assault, which he denies. Well, of course he does. He's going to admit to it, no. Dershowitz claims that the accusations against him were part of a plot. Now, here it goes. Pay attention, because the plot thickens. He says it was part of a plot by one of Giuffre's attorneys, David Boies, to extort money from Wexner. Now, I want y'all to pay attention. You're really just told on this man as far as I'm concerned. So wait a minute, let me get this straight. So Dershowitz this is not true. He didn't assault this woman. He's falsely accused. And the only reason she's lying on him is because it was a plot by one of her nefarious attorneys. I'm calling him nefarious. But by one of her nefarious attorneys to get money, extort money from Wexner. What does Wexner have to do with it? What does Wexner have to do with it? I find it all so interesting. These little devils, they think they're so slick. But I'm on to them. Pay attention. Now, according to a report in the Miami Herald, another of Giuffre's attorneys, Stanley Pottinger, submitted an affidavit saying that his client said under Epstein's direction she had sex with both Dershowitz and Wexner. This is all crazy. Honey, I have receipts that I didn't even know I had. I want you all to pay attention. I had receipts I didn't even know I had. Pay attention. I'm serious. This is all messy. This is all messy. Dorada said, everything slick, don't slide, queen. You got that right, beloved. Mr. Mystical Black Grim said, wow. Let me tell y'all something. When I was digging up all this stuff, you know, I didn't get to read all of it thoroughly. I could have, but I didn't. I was doing other stuff. But I read maybe a few paragraphs. You know how you skim through something? Honey, I didn't see all this. This is all nefarious. But let me continue. Say what now? I'm sorry. And how are they not being charged with the crime? if Jufree, who was underage when she was dealing with Epstein, because let's not forget, she's the same one who accused Prince Andrew. She said she was 16 or 17 at the time. So how are these men not being charged? Well, I'm pretty sure I know why. Said she had sex with both Dershowitz and Wexner. Maybe if I'd read all 987 of those court filings, I would have found this out sooner. But I couldn't read all that stuff. I didn't have time. Now, but New York Magazine reported that Boyes had 3 conversations with Wexner's lawyers in 2015, after which the allegations were completely or quietly dropped. Says they were quietly dropped. Quietly. Please pay attention because that's important. They were quietly dropped. Sounds like some money might have gone under the table and fattened up somebody's pockets. That's all I'm saying. And Boyes asserted in an affidavit that no settlement demand was ever made or even discussed. Well, you wouldn't have to give a settlement demand or even discuss it if somebody slid you a little something in your briefcase or under the table. That's all I'm saying. Now, mind you, this is all alleged. But Jufree said that she had relations with these two, and I believe her. Now, some of Epstein's alleged abuse occurred at the Manhattan townhouse once owned by Wexner, where Epstein lived. Another Epstein accuser, Maria Farmer, said Epstein hired her to work on a mural at Wexner's home in Ohio in the summer of 1996. And guess what? She was assaulted there. I'm sorry, I opened up a whole can of worms and didn't even realize it. I didn't even realize that I'd gone this far into the rabbit hole. Please pay attention. You know what this is? A prime example of when your receipts got receipts. This is crazy. Now, in an affidavit, she asserted that Wexner's security staff refused to let me leave the property and that she was held against her will for approximately 12 hours. Farmer said that after returning to New York, she filed a report with the police and the FBI. Wexner's security staff refused to let her leave the property. But he's not in jail somewhere. She was assaulted there at his house. Farmer said that after returning to New York, she filed a police report and the FBI. Farmer's affidavit does not suggest Wexner himself was involved with or knew about the incident. We believe you. If Wexner wasn't involved with it, who assaulted her at his house? Where's the name of that person? Because conveniently, that person hasn't been named because somebody apparently assaulted her if she called the police and the FBI, right? Wexner said he wasn't the one that did it. Well, somebody did. And why did the security refuse to let her leave? Well, let me continue. Now, they go on to say, federal authorities thus far have not implicated Wexner in Epstein's crimes, according to Bloomberg. But prosecutors are still investigating which, if any, of Epstein's business associates were involved with his alleged crimes. In a statement posted in July, Wexner insisted in all caps that I was never aware of the illegal activity charged in the indictment. He was never aware, he says. Yeah, okay. The Wexner Foundation has not given interviews about the scandal and declined to speak to the Jewish Telegraphic Agency about the matter. Oh, I bet they did. Now, JTA, which is the Jewish Telegraphic Agency, has asked the foundation specifically about the allegations by Farmer and Jufree, and also has reached out to Jufree's attorneys, including Pottinger, for comment. So it's 2 women at least that accused him. But he ain't do nothing. Yeah. According to the Times, Epstein has falsely represented himself as a talent scout for Victoria's Secret, then used his identity to meet women whom he assaulted. L Brands, his stock price has dropped as the Epstein scandal has unfolded. Now, beneficiaries of the Wexner Fellowship and other programs are grappling with what to do, given the association between their benefactor and a sex offender. They say, what do you do when you've taken in dirty money but already spent it? One alumni told the New York Jewish Week, it's not clear that you can do more than commit It's not clear that you can do more than commit to doing anything, but doing better research in the future. Word salad. The debate has played out as well in emails between alumni and faculty of Yeshivat Hadar, a traditional egalitarian yeshiva in New York City, where some faculty members and students are former Wexner fellows. One says, "I would like to propose our community take the lead and disassociating ourselves from Wexner and taking a stand against him being able to buy his way into a good name." So even his own people think he had something to do with it. I just want y'all to pay attention. Even his own people think he had something to do with it. They said he can't buy his way into a good name. This is what Ike Brooks Fishman, a Hadar alum, who was not a Wexner fellow, wrote to the yeshiva listserv, according to copies of emails he posted to his Facebook profile. Fishman also posted a response from one of Hadar's co-founders accusing him of tarring the faculty of Hadar, many of its current students, and those who will enter that fall. Now, I am ashamed that you were once my students. This is what the co-founder wrote, who told the Jewish Week that the email was shared without prior consent and has since apologized. Now, Rabbi Aviva Rickman, a Hadar faculty member, wrote in a statement to the Jewish Week that Hadar receives no funding from the Wexner Foundation and that Fishman's email was an incredibly destructive misrepresentation of Hadar's intentions. Saying that we're proud to be a community that confronts these concerns directly. In July, the president of the foundation, Rabbi B. Elka Abrahamson, sent a mass email to those involved with the foundation and its programs expressing disgust with Epstein. Said it runs contrary to every value we believe in and teach, especially the fundamental tenets that all human beings are created in God's image. This is what she wrote about the allegations. This is an individual who utterly twisted and tossed aside that sacred notion. We are sickened by Mr. Epstein's behavior. Honey, when I tell you this is all so crazy. Whew. That's right, Naja. That's right. When you control everything, nothing like this ever gets public scrutiny. Okay. Queen Sam said, damn, all that? Why y'all need that tunnel? And why was y'all so mad about it being closed? That's exactly what I was thinking. You must have read my mind. You must have read my mind. That crazy bitch Eric said, I can't vibe with whole demons like this. They bother my entire spirit. Yeah, I'm going to need a spiritual bath after this, beloved. I promise you. I'm going to need a spiritual bath. This is all so crazy. Vino X said, Queen of Receipts, a.k.a. the real Nancy Drew. Did it be wanting to party and you got to tell him no. Okay? You got to tell him no. This is all nefarious. And here's the thing. I want you all to pay attention. Now, at the end of the day, do you all think Diddy was partying with these people? You know why I think Diddy was partying with these people? Please pay attention. Because who does Diddy know very, very well? They call him his sugar daddy, Ronald Burkle, the billionaire supermarket mogul. This man's name was in Epstein's black book. I showed it to you all. I showed you the receipts when I made the connection. I was the first one to make the connection between Ronald Burkle, Epstein, and Diddy. With that all being said, Ronald Burkle is allegedly Diddy's sugar daddy. And when they say Diddy went to London, he allegedly was at Ronald Burkle's place. Ronald Burkle is in Epstein's black book. So are these other men that we were just talking about, Les Wexner, okay? Michael Jeffries, and all these people. It's all crazy. Now, all of these people tied together. Now, Michael Jeffries, let me stop right there. I'm not going to say he was in Epstein's book. But what I am going to say is that he had to have known Epstein because he was appointed as CEO of Ambercrombie and Fitch by Les Wexner, who absolutely is friends or was friends with Epstein. So here's the thing. Wexner wants us to believe that he didn't know anything about what Epstein was doing. With that all being said, I want you to think about it. What's the likelihood? What's the likelihood of anyone knowing not one, but two people accused of trafficking? What's the likelihood of that? 2 billionaires accused of trafficking, not just regular people. Who knows 2 billionaires accused of trafficking and you didn't know that either of them were trafficking? Now I have questions. Exact said, yes, I do believe that Diddy has strong connections with them all. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But here's the thing. Now, this is something you all probably didn't even know. What celebrities modeled for Abercrombie and Fitch? Let's talk about it because here's why. Here's why. Celebrities who modeled for Abercrombie and Fitch, well, they might know a little something. So let's look at it. List of celebrities. I already know who they are, but I'm pulling this up so you all can see it. Channing Tatum. Ashton Kutcher is one. Hold on. Jennifer Lawrence, the lady who played in Hunger Games. Here they go right here. Let me just tell you the names. I've already told you 3 of them. Emma Roberts, Michelle Trachtenberg, January Jones, Nikki Reed, Jamie Dornan, Kellen Lutz, Taylor Kitsch. I don't know those people, but I do know Jennifer Lawrence and Ashton Kutcher and Channing Tatum. I've seen them all in movies. Scott Eastwood, wonder if he's related to Clint. Lily Sobieski, Trevor Donovan, Penn Bagley, Jamie Dorvan. There's Ashton's name. Chris Cormack, Sienna Miller, Jesse McCartney. Jesse McCartney, I know that name from somewhere. Versace family. So the entire Versace family, is that what they're saying? And Emma Roberts, I know that name too. Karl Lagerfeld, Taylor Swift, Jennifer Lopez. This is all so nefarious. I didn't see those names earlier. Now I got the full list. So I want you all to pay attention. Now, why am I asking which celebrities modeled for Abercrombie and Fitch? Oh, well, because I think that some of those celebrities, they know that there was trafficking going on. Please pay attention. Now, you remember with the Nexium sex cult, the woman who played in the show Smallville, Ellison Mack, she was a whole actress. Please pay attention. Celebrities be involved in these things. But here is another thing that I find interesting. You see, Ashton Kutcher, now I have questions about this. Ashton Kutcher started an organization or was working with an organization. Not sure if he started it. I think he did. But he had an organization where they would go and save children who were being sex trafficked. Ashton Kutcher helped save 6,000 kids from sex trafficking via his organization with Demi Moore. Okay, so him and Demi Moore put this together. Now, so what I'm thinking is that Ashton Kutcher, because he always seemed to me, because I've been knowing about his organization for years, and in fact, he stopped doing it. He resigned from it after his friend, Tim Matheson, the guy that played on that 70 show with him, after he got like 20 or 30 years in prison for raping people. Y'all remember that? And then Ashton and his Mila Kunis, they both wrote letters asking the judge to be lenient on him, and they got a lot of backlash. And he even got backlash from me, for those of you who remember when I reported it, because I said, I'm confused. I said, Ashton is against trafficking and stuff like that, so why would he be writing a letter to get empathy for someone who's a whole rapist? For those of you who remember. But so now I have to ask myself, did Ashton and Jimmy, did they start this organization because perhaps when Ashton was modeling, maybe a little something happened to him, or at least maybe he knew about it, and so he wanted to help? I just have questions. But hold on, because here's Ashton when he was modeling for Abercrombie. So I have questions. Now I wonder, because I always wondered what made Ashton, start rescuing trafficked children. You just don't hear about celebrities doing that. So I was wondering, what was the driving force behind it? What made him do it? Now I have many more questions. Okay, but anyway, he did help find, by 2018, he'd helped to find 6,000 kids. His organization found at least 6,000 kids. In data, its data claimed that Thorne also helped disrupt 6,608 perpetrators. Okay, encouraged over 140,000 individuals seeking child sexual abuse material to get help and be educated. 3.5 million teens. They helped 3.5 million teens through its Stop Sextortation program. Kutcher started the organization, previously known as DNA Foundation, with more in 2009 to deter the sexual exploitation of children. In March, the actor spoke with 48 Hours about his advocacy work, admitting, "I have a hard time talking about this issue without being emotional." Now I really think something happened to Ashton Kutcher. He has a hard time talking about it without being emotional, maybe traumatized. He says, what we do at our core is build technology to help fight sexual exploitation of children. You can roll up your sleeves and go try to be like a hero and go save one person, or you can build a tool that allows one person to save a lot of people. Now, Kutcher testified in front of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee in February of 2017, according to a 15-minute speech on modern-day slavery, meant to compel Congress to act to end the horrors faced by women and children all around the globe. He says, "I'm here today." This is what he said during his testimony. I remember reading this when I was on Facebook. I posted something about this on Facebook at one point. He says, "I'm here today to defend the right to pursue happiness. It's a simple notion. The right to pursue happiness. It's bestowed upon all of us by our Constitution. Every citizen of this country has the right to pursue it. And I believe that it's incumbent on us as citizens of this nation, as Americans, to bestow that right upon others, upon each other, and upon the rest of the world. But the right to pursue happiness for so many is stripped away. It's great away without the G. It's abused. It's taken by force, fraud, or coercion. It is sold for the monetary happiness of another." He also spoke of the criticism he's gotten from others, or as he referred to them, trolls, he calls them, who tell him to stick to his day job. Why would somebody tell a man who's trying to help save trafficked children? Who would tell him to stick to his day job? Besides perverts. Please pay attention. Now, he rebutted those critiques by saying that his work with Thorne is his day job. He then told a harrowing story about seeing a child at the same age as his daughter, Wyatt, with his wife, Mila Kunis, who is now 3 years old, being raped by an adult man. He said, "I've seen video content of a child that's at the same age as mine being," this is awful, "by an American man who was a sex tourist in Cambodia. And this child was so conditioned by her environment that she thought she was engaging in play." This is sad. And I want you ought to remember something. A lot of these Western men go over to foreign lands so they can do these things. And some places it's allowed. And in some places it isn't legal, but because there are such poor conditions, this is what they do. For those of you who've been following me from day one, from 2020, you know that I reported on how a lot of them go over to the Gambia, where the children look like me. Okay, 3 and 4 years old. It's all crazy. But anyway. So he says, I've been on the other end of a phone call from my team asking for my help because we had received a call from the Department of Homeland Security telling us that a 7-year-old girl was being abused and that content was being spread around the dark web and that she had been abused and they watched her for 3 years and they could not find the perpetrator and they were asking us for help. We're the last line of defense. An actor and his foundation were the potential last line of defense. That's my day job, and I'm sticking to it. Well, he did a darn good job. He did a darn good job at the end of the day. This is all nefarious. Okay? This is all nefarious. Oh, but anyway, okay, so now we figured out all of this. We've broken down all the receipts. Byron B said, just babies. Yes. Danielle said, my soul is hurting and screaming right now. Mine is too, honey. I'm trying not to cry. Please pay attention. This is all sad. But hold on. Facebook, Instagram, they're being sued. Did you all know that? Facebook and Instagram content enabled child abuse, trafficking. New Mexico lawsuit says. Now, this came out December the 6th of 2023. And they say Facebook and Instagram created prime locations. Hold on, let me tell you what first they said. New Mexico sued Meta Platforms and its CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, alleging that, y'all know what community Mark Zuckerberg is from. Now, they say CEO Mark Zuckerberg alleging that the company's platforms enabled child abuse material to be distributed and failed to identify alleged predator networks. The suit was brought after an undercover investigation allegedly revealed a myriad of instances of sexually explicit content being served to minors. The coercion of children, the sale of child abuse material, and all of this. New Mexico Attorney General Raul Torres said this in a press release. Look at Mark Zuckerberg sitting there looking like he don't know what's going on. So they had this whole undercover operation, and this is how it all came to a head. Well, let's go to the footage because I do have news reports, please pay attention, of one young lady who said this happened to her. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Here we go.
Attorney Annie McAdams is waging an unprecedented fight against Facebook.
What do you think Facebook thought when you filed this suit initially?
Probably underestimated me, which I welcome at any time.
What did you think when you filed the suit?
I thought that they should buckle up.
A busy mom and personal injury attorney, a few years ago she started being asked to represent teens who'd been sold for sex.
It didn't matter where the client was from. The one thing that they all shared was the role of social media or technology in their trafficking case.
Connecting them to the trafficker.
Without a doubt.
McAdams sued Facebook on behalf of Jane Doe.
When did you get on Facebook?
I would say about 13.
We agreed not to show her full face. When she was 16, an older man sent a friend request.
When I was younger, it was about who had the most friends. So it's like anybody who would send you a request, just add them.
He said she could make $2,000 a week modeling. After a fight with her mom, she met him.
He took my phone, so I couldn't run away. I didn't know where I was.
At this hotel, he took suggestive photos and posted them online. Within hours, men were paying to rape her.
I feel like I lost a part of my childhood then. It's something that will live on with me forever.
You filed this suit 3 years ago. What's happened since?
Delay after delay, appeal after appeal.
Facebook argues the case should be thrown out, that the company is shielded by Section 230 of the 1996 Communications Decency Act, long interpreted by courts to mean social media sites are not legally responsible for the content users post. But McAdams alleges Facebook and its algorithms are part of the problem.
What we're looking at here is the independent actions that Facebook actually takes to connect these predators with these children and how they profit from the connections that happen as a result of that.
Facebook's parent company Meta says human trafficking is abhorrent and is not allowed on our platforms. We use technology to thwart this kind of abuse. It also says the company is on track to spend more than $5 billion this year alone on safety and security. But despite the company's defense, McAdams and her team have won some victories all the way through the Texas Supreme Court.
Have you gone further than any other case? Yes. We have gone the farthest.
Now she and 25 state attorneys general are asking the U.S. Supreme Court to re-examine the law.
Changing the law is only a case away.
A Meta official says Facebook will file tomorrow opposing a Supreme Court review.
The way the case is going, I feel very hopeful.
But Jane Doe wants the highest court to take her case.
We will keep having these problems unless something is changed. And if it's not, then you'll be sitting with another me probably 3 years from now.
Kate Snow, NBC News, Houston.
Here in
Okay, so there you have it, honey. At the end of the day, that's what Facebook has going on. Facebook and Instagram. Now, they say they don't allow certain stuff. At the end of the day, I'm gonna have to disagree. Because I've seen people on there soliciting things. Not children, but grown people on there. Okay? Because I was like, for those of you who've been following me, you may remember that I said, wait a minute, is Facebook letting people solicit prostitution? Because I have questions after I've seen some of the stuff posted on there. But if you post the truth about certain things, oh, well, you know, that's a guideline strike. So I definitely have questions about all of that at the end of the day. Now, here's another video. I forgot to show you all this when we were talking about Ambercrombie and Fitch. So let's get into it.
GMA cover story, sexual abuse allegations against the former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch. Claims are part of a new documentary. Eva Pilgrim here with the details. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning, George. There are now calls this morning for an investigation into the ex-CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch and his partner here in the U.S. The two accused of recruiting men for sex at lavish parties they hosted around the world.
This morning, former Abercrombie & Fitch CEO Mike Jeffries accused of exploiting men for sex starting in 2009, while he was still running the company until his departure in 2014.
I've questioned many times how difficult or what I could have done if I could have left.
According to a new BBC Panorama investigation, the Abercrombie guys, the dark side of cool, Jeffries and his partner Matthew Smith hosted parties in various cities around the world and would use a middleman identified by the BBC as James Jacobson to recruit young men to attend. Some of the accusers claim they were misled, never told sex was involved, and say they were lured under the guise of modeling opportunities. Others say they understood the parties would be sexual, but not what they were expected to do. All say they felt pressured into signing non-disclosure agreements.
There wasn't a lot of time to look through and feel comfortable.
I don't recall what was in that. It was taken away from me immediately after signing it.
Jacobson telling the BBC, everyone I came into contact with who attended these events went in with their eyes wide open.
These alleged criminal acts on the behalf of Mr. Jeffries could potentially affect the actual brand if at any point in time he was on company time, utilizing company resources or money. It could fall back on the company.
This isn't the first time the former CEO has made headlines. Under his leadership, Abercrombie & Fitch was the subject of multiple allegations related to a discriminatory and toxic work environment that prompted lawsuits and settlements. Jeffries ultimately stepped down as CEO, and this morning the company he once led telling ABC News, "We are appalled and disgusted by the behavior described in the allegations," adding that since being contacted by the BBC, we have engaged an outside law firm to conduct an independent investigation into the issues raised. The company's current executive leadership team and board of directors were not aware of the allegations of sexual misconduct by Mr. Jeffries.
Now, ABC News reached out to Mike Jeffries and his partner Matthew Smith. Neither responded to our request for comment.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here.
Okay, for the most part, if someone is innocent, you would think that they would say something in their own defense. You would think so. Not always the case, but that would be the case that I would think you would say something in your own defense if you were innocent. Now, in Diddy's case, he said something in his own defense, even though I believe he's guilty as homemade sin, just to make himself appear guilty. That's just my opinion. Okay? This is all nefarious. This is all nefarious. Now, here's the thing. Okay? King Lejean said dead giveaway, but typically they have no problem responding. Exactly. Okay, so anyway, that's the news for now, beloveds. I hope you all enjoyed this live, honey. All right? I hope you all enjoyed this live because we had all the receipts, did we not? Okay? So now let's get this straight. So we've linked the stuff going on with yesterday. We linked the Ambercrombie and Fitch to the Balenciaga scandal. Okay, similar things going on. I also yesterday made it make sense as to how some of the things that were alleged with the Abercrombie and Fitch, Michael Jeffries and Matthew Smith, are some of the exact same things that Diddy was engaging in. And then now today, we find out that people that Diddy is close to, or shall I say a person specifically that Diddy's close to, who's close to Epstein, well, who's close to Les Wexner, who's close to Michael Jeffries from Abercrombie and Fitch. Please make it all make sense. This is all nefarious. You know what this reminds me of, beloveds? You know what this reminds me of? Naja says, receipts upon receipts upon receipts, queen. The real Nancy Drew of journalism. Thank you, beloved. But you know what I think? That Prince Beach Earth says they run it in tight circles, family. We aren't surprised. Exactly. Okay, and I'm glad you brought that up. Because here's the thing. This reminds me of that movie, Rosemary's Baby. How many of you have seen the movie Rosemary's Baby? Okay? How many of you have seen the movie Rosemary's Baby? Albert said, Queen is connecting the dots. Thank you, beloved. Y'all know I try to put it all together. King Lejean said, their legal team really wants us to believe these people were oblivious to the nefarious and predatory behavior. Miss me. Exactly. They can miss me too. Okay, so for those of you who saw Rosemary's Baby, I don't know if you all noticed this, but Roman Polanski, who directed it, who now has left the country for France, I think that's where he lives, after he was accused of doing some of this stuff. Y'all pay attention. Y'all pay attention. He was accused of messing around with a 13-year-old, and he left the country to avoid prosecution. Funny how they still let him win an Oscar, I believe it was in 2005 or somewhere around the early 2000s, and I think it was for the movie Piano. But hey, but here's the thing. In the movie, Terry Hartford said it's given Sodom and Gomorrah. Absolutely. Absolutely, I agree. But in the movie Rosemary's Baby, there was a line that Rosemary said. If you remember, they had that party on the movie Rosemary's Baby. They had a sex party. That was the party when her husband, Guy, allowed the devil to take her, to impregnate her. You all remember that? So, but think about it. There's the sex party right there. And then here's the other thing. And one part of the movie, when Rosemary found out that all the people that she was going to for help, once she found out about what her husband was up to with the devil, the pact he made with the devil, when she was going to these other people, they were all telling on her to her husband. It was only one man who was really trying to help her. That was the older guy. I can't remember his name. But then he had a stroke. And that's because they did something to him. So remember when Rosemary said devils, she was reading a book that he'd given her, Guy. Guy was her husband. Can't remember the other guy's name. But he'd given her a book, the older gentleman. And she was reading it. And she said, she read a line that said, all of them devils. And she said it out loud. She said, all of them devils. That's when she realized nobody's going to help her because all of them are devils. They're all in on it. That's what I'm saying. That's what I want you all to see. Are they all in on it? Are they all in on it? Because that's what it seems like. All of them devils. Please pay attention. Allegedly. Whew. Just another woman said, birds of a feather flock together. Absolutely. Hutch. Thank you, Tracy. Tracy said his name was Hutch. That was his name. You have a good memory, beloved. You have a good memory. So listen, here's what we're going to do. I've come to the conclusion, we're going to start having a movie night. That's what we're going to start doing. We're going to start having a movie night. Okay? And for all of you who want to participate, we're going to get together and we're going to have a movie night. We're going to do it on Zoom. That's what we're going to do. All right? That's what we're going to do. A movie night. Yep, absolutely. We're going to do it on Zoom. Please pay attention. Just another woman said, Queen, there was a movie named The Nefarious. I saw that movie, honey. Somebody sent it to me because I'm always saying nefarious, okay? Somebody sent it to me. That movie was good. That movie was a psychological thriller, and I loved it. That's one of the best psychological movies I've seen. I absolutely think so. Okay, Rex said, movie night. Yeah. Nessa G said, that would be good. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Okay. Busy Diva said, a movie night sounds great. All right, so I'm glad you all are here for it. Desmond said, Queen, did you talk about Brick Lady? Yes, Desmond, you're late to the party. You're tardy to the party. I talked about her first before I ever got started. Wasn't much to say other than the fact that she turned herself in and they gave her a $10,000 bond and now she's home. She has to go back to court March the 5th. And I will be paying attention. Okay, Dorada said, awesome broadcast, Queen. Thank you. You're welcome, beloved. Okay. Pauline said, wow, that would be movie rising for me. Okay, beloved. Hold on. I can't see. Exquisite film says, I got the popcorn for movie night. Okay. All right. Elle said, yes, I would enjoy that. And Naja said, I'll bring the popcorn. Okay. All right. Vino said, Queen, you better stop announcing your plans. You know the copycats be lurking. I know that's right, beloved. Listen, I love you all to life. Listen, I want you all to pay attention because I may go live. Yeah, I'm absolutely going live. I'm going live, and all of y'all need to make sure that you're signed up, you're subscribed to the backup channel. Okay? One of the moderators, please, before we close out, put the link to the backup channel in there, okay? Please put the backup channel link in there because I'm going live. Y'all, I was going to talk about it on this one, but I was like, nah, this is going to take too long. This is going to take too long. So we're probably going to do this on the backup channel. Oh, and let me say this. I apologize for those of you who were waiting in the chat for me yesterday on this channel, but I did the live on the backup channel and I accidentally posted it on here. And then a few minutes later, when I realized it, I thought I deleted it. The moderators said that it was still posted. They had to direct some of you over to the other channel. So I'm sorry. I hate to waste you all's time. Okay. So with that all being said, I love you all to life. Okay. Vino X said, great show. Thank you, beloved. Truth Over Everything said, Lifeline, stop using microwave popcorn. Do some research on why. Absolutely. Absolutely, beloved. That's a very good tip. Okay. Mr. Mystical Black Rail said, you're forgiven. Thank you. Okay. Deronda said, you in here wig 2.0? Y'all are a mess. Okay, so everyone have a beautiful and blessed day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Nobody knows why liars lie. Winners are not allowed to allow losers to rewrite history. It's God's side and the other side. Country bumpkin, black blue, they can't talk good. Uber bitch and look like Mr. Potato Head. I didn't want to be a movie star. No, you couldn't be a movie star. Ricky Smiley can't act. Cause Ricky Smiley can't act. Why is he in a dress again? He didn't be wanting to Barbie. And you gotta tell him no. Said ain't got no special, you remember?